Okay, so Bungie has broken cover with a VIDOC, a quote unquote VIDOC, which I understand is short for video documentary, about Marathon. And it's a game that's had a fairly troubled development period, seemingly. It was delayed. It is coming. It's going to cost $40. John, I'm curious what you make about this new disclosure.
So, as you noted, this game has been through a lot. Obviously, there was the initial announcement period. People were disappointed to find out what type of game it is, an extraction shooter, versus what the original Marathon was. Then it was obviously there was that situation with the playtests not shaping up great. It's too easy, not that interesting initially. And then the art thing, where it found out that, hey, they actually kind of ripped off an artist for some of the iconic design stuff that was going on in the game. But since then, they've made that situation right. They've made the artist whole. I think was very, very cool. Everyone's happy there. They've massively retooled the game. People have been playing this, and they just recently represented everything in this VDoc or whatever you want to call it, which is a word they've used for a long time. A
Yeah.
portmanteau, I guess, of a video documentary, as you noted. But the feedback both from players that have been testing it again, as well as like what you can kind of gather from this video doc, is that they really have done some major work to make this game interesting again. And I hope they can pull it off, because this did feel like this was going to be the next Concord, if you will. Maybe not that bad, but like it was not going in the right direction. Now, however, I like what I'm seeing here. First of all, I'm attracted to this idea of it being a very difficult, hostile world. Like the whole thing about these types of shooters, I conceptually like this, playing as a team going into this sort of game, but it needs to be brutal. And that's one of the reasons why I've always enjoyed Hunt from Crytek, is that it is actually quite a challenging game. And it doesn't it doesn't pull any punches, I think. And it seems like that's what they're doing here. I also think they've done a nice job evolving the visual design. The visuals shown in this video look, I think, really good. It still seems to be Bungie's, I think it's Tiger engine, if I recall. But this is like their internal engine. They didn't switch to Unreal or anything like that, as far as I can tell. And the visual design remains quite strong, stronger actually than when it was shown before, where it was a little bit weak. Like there's some truly beautiful stuff in this video, I think, like just the use of color, like the lighting, the shading, and just like the general like designs. It still feels very fresh. And this is something Bungie's always been really, really good with. Like this is what they do. So I'm really happy to see that all kind of come together. And just everything about this actually makes me interested. And I'm not somebody that's typically into multiplayer games, but take, for instance, Destiny, right? I don't really like games as a service, but I liked Destiny a lot. I thought Destiny was awesome. It's one of the only ones that I've ever truly enjoyed. A lot of that comes down to the core gameplay mechanics, the way it feels to play it, the way it feels to control it. They're really, really good with that. Like just the weapon positioning, the way the weapons animate and move, the way enemies react to hits and fire. Everything about the act of just shooting at foes feels good. And this is something in my 360 video I talked about recently when I went back to Call of Duty 2. Very old game now, right? But the original Call of Duty 2, I realized I don't like it anymore. I think it sucks.
Yeah.
And a lot of it comes down to the core mechanics just aren't enjoyable to wield. Shooting enemies feels bad. You're shooting tiny little targets at a distance. They don't react in interesting ways. Nothing about it controls well. Whereas you take like Halo 1 or Halo 2 from that same era, you drop the Master Chief in like a box room with a bunch of enemies, and just dispatching his enemies is fun. That's what Bungie does. And I think that's what I'm hoping for here as well. So if they can pull all of this off, deliver that quality Bungie gunplay, make this world compelling, because it does look compelling. And if a world isn't compelling, you're not going to want to jump into this kind of game in the first place. Like, I'm actually interested in giving it a shot. And I really hope that this becomes a good story for them as opposed to like a failure, because the direction they were moving, there was a lot of concern that we were looking at the end of Bungie, right? Like Destiny's fizzling out. Marathon seemed to be a bust. It was not good, but it really seems like they have in earnest put a lot of time and effort into writing this ship. So I hope they pull it off.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Alex?
Well, I'm not nearly as positive as John, mainly because I just play a lot of these. Well, I haven't played a lot of them because I don't like them. But a lot of the extraction shooters,
I don't normally like them too either, Alex. That's what I was saying.
Yeah. But like, I think my problem with the extraction shooters is that they kind of follow similar molds. And I always thought Bungie historically didn't always. I mean, they had some moments where they did try and ape other franchises' gameplay mechanics and stuff. But like, I always just think of the fact that they were like one of the few studios that kept hip shooting a viable gameplay mechanic in first person shooters for a lot longer than everyone else. Everyone just went to the left trigger Call of Duty, everyone uses aim down sight kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then they kind of switched that up when like around Destiny 2 time, where it's more about ADS now. But I always liked the fact that they were kind of more old school in their design, and that's probably the one thing that I don't see here. It is very modern, and maybe that's what people like these days. But I always really liked Bungie's more old school, gameplay mechanics in terms of not requiring ADS and no slides and, all these other things that you kind of saw. I really did like run and gun. But this footage is different. Like I just recently played, I was about to call it Ark Survival Evolved, but it's called, what's the
it's called Ark Raiders, Alex.
Ark Raiders.
I'm sorry, but that is another game that has like a leaning.
By all means, play Ark Survival Evolved.
Yeah, another game that is leading on 70s Bauhaus almost in styled art design, kind of like this is in some ways. Obviously this one goes for more cartoony though, as a part of that. But like hostile world, you go outside, you PvE, you PvP. It just doesn't appeal to me. It's not a game at all for me, in terms of design. But so I think if you do like these games, probably if you liked Ark Raiders or whatnot, this could be appealing to you. Although I do look at the stats and I get a little worried because I just, my eyes blur over at this point when I look at stats. But the one thing, it's got an SSR that's visible in the trailer. So Bungie hasn't evolved on that front, but maybe we'll see it when it comes to the final product. Maybe there's actually differences between versions there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, what can I say? Just going back to your Call of Duty comments there, John, because you were, I'd say it was a social media pile-on when you announced that you didn't like Call of Duty 2 anymore. Everyone thought that you'd gone mad.
That was pretty funny. And
that's
to be fair, the PC version is at least more enjoyable, but because you have a mouse control. And the problem with this game is they focus on small targets at a distance. Like, the difference between Halo and Call of Duty in single player anyway, and I guess multiplayer as well, is that in Halo, you're a multi-range fighting machine. You're getting up close and you're fighting at a distance, where Call of Duty is primarily like a distance game. And players go down faster and everything's about like long distance shots. And the 360 version of Call of Duty 2, as I found out, it's not actually good. Like, it runs pretty badly, a lot worse than my memory suggested. It's always dropping frames. Like, as soon as the combat starts, boom, 30 FPS. And they didn't tune the controller right. It doesn't feel great. I did not have fun at all playing it, like even a little bit. I think it's a much worse game than all the contemporary shooters of that era. Like, you look at, between the Halo games at the time, Half-Life 2, Doom 3, Fear even. And I don't love Fear, but I still think Fear plays better than Call of Duty 2. All that's Quake 4 I talked about. I think Quake 4 is a much better game all around. So
Interesting.
I know people, but before you take issue with it, though, I seriously recommend load it up again. In my mind, in my head canon, Call of Duty 2 was great, and then I had to play through it, and I realized I don't actually like this. I found it very boring, especially like so the main problem, the game gunplay, not fun on the 360 anyway. But then the missions are usually just like, follow the scripted scene. Now stand here and fight waves of boring enemies for a long time. Now go to next scripted scene. And that's pretty much all you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of them just are very repeating. Like John,
very repetitive.
I sent John some of my footage that I I played the game for 2.5 hours because I was trying to get to a certain point, and I just said, F this game sucks.
So so you thought that too, Alex?
Yeah. Like I got to the mission where you're playing as, like the SAS or whatever in the desert of North Africa, and they're like, defend this position, and you just are like constantly doing the same thing. You man a machine gun, and then you use binoculars to call in artillery strikes that are very late, by the way, always, every time, to much to your annoyance. And it just, like the guys you're shooting at, it's pretty easy to hit them on PC, like you said, with a mouse. But for me, just like the mission design is just trash. It's really trashy mission design. So if you just play other shooters from that era that allow you more leeway and how you actually have actions, they're much more fun. So that game doesn't have it.
I'm glad you agree with me on that, Alex. And I really think anybody that takes issue with it really should go give it a shot again, because it's I will say that they improved a lot of things with Call of Duty going forward. You can see why it was Call of Duty 4 where it really broke out. I have my issues with that game as well, but it instantly just feels much better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, going back to your comments on how repetitive and boring Call of Duty is, I've just got 2 words for you: historical accuracy.
Yeah, that's right. War isn't very fun.
Yeah, I know.
It's not very fun. It's very repetitive. You will have delays on your airstrikes. Sorry, Alex. On your artillery strikes.
Yeah, I had my grandfather review his time in World War II all those years ago, and he gave it a pretty low score. He said it was pretty boring. Really? And, too stressful at other times. So
crazy stuff. Well, it looks as though Marathon is going to be arriving March 2026. So maybe we should all play it together and do some extracting and see whether we like it or not.
I'm in 100%. It's going to be me and Oliver on the team. And Rich, you can join in. Alex, I don't think you have too much interest in that.
Not as much enthusiasm.
Not interested, Alex.